Hello and welcome to COFOMath, and today we are going to look at ACT Prep Part 1, where we are going to explore several skills. Actually, skill on how to solve equations using substitution and elimination. That is what we are going to be looking at. And the objective for this particular session is to solve systems of linear equations by substitution and also to solve system of linear equations by elimination. Welcome. Now, the first method that we are going to look at is solving systems of equations by substitution. If you are given a pair of equations like we have here, that is 2x plus y equals to 7 and x minus 2y equals to 6, the very first step is to solve one of the equations for either variable. So you take one of them and solve for either variable. For example, you can take the second equation, which has a variable x, whose coefficient is 1. We are subtracting 2y, and that is equal to 6. So you take x minus 2y equals to 6 and solve for x. So we are going to add 2y both sides. So we are going to get x equals to 6 plus 2y. So this is now the new expression that we have, x equals to 6 plus 2y. Then the next step is to substitute the expression from step 1 in the other equation. So the other equation is 2x, but instead of x, we put now what we have found here as 6 plus 2y. So you put 6 plus 2y there. And that, notice that in this first equation, we have 2x plus y. So we add y here and equate that to 7. So that's what we're going to do there. So we are going to go ahead and distribute these two. So 2 times 6 gives you 12, and 2 times 2y gives you 4y. And then we are adding y, and this gives us 7. Now notice that here now, we combine like terms, 4y plus y, that is 5y. So we get 12 plus 5y equals to 7. Then the next step is to subtract 12 from both sides. So we'll have 5y will be equal to 7 minus 12. And so we get our 5y equals to negative 5. Since we are interested in finding y, we are going to solve for y here by dividing by 5, and you get 5 and 5 cancels. So we end up with y, and then negative 5 divided by positive 5. Notice that the signs are different, so we are going to get a different sign, which is a negative. So we are going to get this is negative 1. So y equals to negative 1 in this case. Now that we know y is negative 1, we go back to here. We may go back to the original equation, but the best strategy is to come to this part where we had written x equals to 6 plus 2y. Now instead of y, you put negative 1 because we have found y is negative 1. Now this ends up being x equals to 6. Positive 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and this gives us 4. Therefore, x equals to 4 and y equals to negative 1. And by doing that, you have solved that particular problem by substitution. Then we come to solving the problems or solving a pair of equations by elimination. The first step is to write both equations in standard form, and notice that these ones are already in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals to c. This one is already in standard form, and this one is already in standard form. The next step is to make the coefficients of one variable opposites. Now, if we look at the first equation, notice that we have the coefficient of y is 1. And the coefficient of y in the second equation is negative 2. So that is the easiest way to make those ones opposites, the coefficients of y to be opposites. We simply multiply the first equation by 2. So when we do that, we are going to get 4x plus 2y equals to 14. And the second equation will be remaining the way it is, x minus 2y equals to 6. Now notice that by doing that, we have the coefficients of y are opposites of each other. So if we add the two equations, we are going to get 5x, and then 2y plus negative 2y, that becomes 0. And so we have 14 plus 6, that is 20. So we have 5x equals to 20. We are interested in x, so we divide here by 5 and divide here by 5, and we get x equals to 4. So by doing that, we have found one of the solutions, which is x equals to 4. After we have added the two exponents. Actually, this one is supposed to be on step 3 here. That is 4x plus 2y equals to 14, and x minus 2y equals to 6. So when you add those two, you get 5x. This becomes 0, and this is 20. Then you go ahead and divide both sides by 5, and you get x equals to 4. Then you are told to solve for the remaining variable. How do we solve for the remaining variable? We can take this particular x equals to 4 and use one of the equations here. We can use that equation, is easy. So we know x minus 2y, but now x is 4. We subtract 2y. This should give us 6. So the next thing is to subtract 4 both sides. You'll be left with negative 2y equals to 6 minus 4. And we get negative 2y equals to 2. And then you divide both sides by 2. And notice that now this would be negative 2y divided by negative 2, and this is equal to 2 divided by negative 2. So negative 2 and negative 2 cancels, and positive 2 divided by negative 2, that will be negative 1. And again, we have found the two solutions, x equals to 4, while y equals to negative 1. And those are your solutions by elimination. So now that we have laid the foundation for this particular solving of equations by substitution and elimination, we can now go ahead and answer our 5 ACT prep questions that we have. The first question is, if a plus b is 28 and a minus b is 10, then b is what? So we want to solve for b. So here we need to get rid of a. So we are interested in having b, so we get rid of a. So in this particular case, we'll have a plus b equals to 28. And here we have a minus b equals to 10. So in fact, all we need to do is to make the coefficients of a be opposites of each other. So we can multiply the second equation by negative 1. So you multiply by negative 1. So this will be a plus b. The first equation remains the way it is. And the second equation becomes now negative a plus b, because a negative 1 times negative b is plus b, and 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. And then we add these two equations together. When we do that, a will disappear. Then b plus b is 2b equals to 28 plus negative 10. That is 28 minus 10, which is 18. Then you divide this by 2 and you divide this by 2, and notice that you get b equals to 9. So your solution there is b, 9. And that's how you get that. Second equation, what is the solution to the following system of equations? So when you're given that, it's also very simple. You have 3x plus 7y equals to 34 and x plus 7y equals to 30. So this one is very easy because you can see the coefficient of y is 7. The coefficient of y here is 7. So since we want to make those coefficients opposites of each other, we can simply multiply the second equation here by negative 1. And when we do that, you'll be left with the first equation remains the way it is. 3x plus 7y equals to 34. The second one becomes now negative x. minus 7y, because positive 7y times negative 1 is negative 7y, and this is equal to negative 30. Then we do the same process of elimination. We add these two. Notice that 3x plus negative x, that is 3x minus x, which is 2x. Then you have 7y plus negative 7y, that cancels to be 0. And 34 plus negative 30, that is 34 minus 30, and that gives you 4. Then you divide this side by 2, and you divide this side by 2 to find x equals to positive 2. Then you can go back to one of the equations, the easiest one being the second one, and substitute for x. In the second equation, it says x plus 7y. So x is 2 plus 7y equals to 30. So you subtract 2 both sides, and when you do, you get 7y equals to 28. And then divide both sides by 7, and notice that you get your y is actually 4. So in coordinate form, as an ordered pair, notice that the solution, we're going to start with x, comma, 4. And remember, ordered pair must be in parentheses. And that is your solution. So the answer here is H. Beautiful. Then the next is question number 3. Question number 3, we are told, if y equals to 5x minus 2 and x equals to 4b plus 3, then y is equivalent to which of the following? So you are being asked y is equivalent to which of the following. So that means you are being, in other words, you are being to solve for y. Notice that we have y equals to that, and x is 4b plus 3. So we just go ahead in the first equation, and instead of writing 5x, we write 5 into x. We know it is 4b plus 3. But remember also, we are subtracting 2 from y. So notice that this one here is representing x. So we go ahead and solve this. Distribute the 5. 5 times 4b, that is 20b. And 5 times 3, that is 15. And you are subtracting 2. Then you simplify. You get y equals to 20b. And 15 minus 2 is 13. So that is 20b plus 13. And therefore the answer is C. Pure awesomeness. Then we go to question number 4. If the following system has a solution, what is the x coordinate of the solution? So since we are being asked the x coordinate, that means we need to solve for x. So we need to eliminate y, get rid of y. If we look at the coefficient of y here is 8, and the coefficient of y here is 8. So we need to make those ones opposites of each other. So you multiply the second equation by negative 1. So when you do that, the first equation remains as 4x plus 8y equals to 60. And then the second equation now becomes negative x minus 8y equals to negative 30. So we combine those two and we add 4x plus negative x, that is 3x, 8y plus negative 8y, that is 0, and 60 plus negative 30, that is simply 30. Then you divide here by 3 and you divide here by 3. Those cancels out and you get x equals to 30 divided by 3, which is 10. Therefore, x is 10. The answer is G. Easy peasy. All right. We go to the next, number 5. What is the value of y in the solution to the system of equations below? What is the value of y? We're being asked to find the value of y, so that means we have to eliminate x. Now, looking at the coefficient of x here is 5, and the coefficient of x here is 1. So we can go ahead and multiply the second equation by negative 5, so that we can be able to eliminate x. So the first equation remains the way it is, 5x minus 5y equals to 25. And in the second equation, you multiply by negative 5, you get negative 5x times, not times, but you have positive 4 times negative 5. So that would be negative 20y equals to negative 5 times negative 10. That would be positive 50. So we go ahead and add these two. 5x plus negative 5x, that is 0. And then negative 5y plus negative 20y, that is negative 25y. equals to 25 plus 50, that is 75. And then you divide both sides by negative 25 divided by negative 25. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and we get y is positive 75 divided by negative 25. That would be negative 3. And therefore y is negative 3. And those are the solutions to the 5 equations that we are given, the 5 questions for ACT prep. So please subscribe to Coformath for more awesome solutions to problems. Thank you.